Team, family, squadron, we have the absolute privilege, I'm giddy and can't wait to get into it, of sitting down with two-time Golden Door winner, $1 Million Man, one of the most inspiring stories in all of door-to-door and the best guys I know. Zach Kinzel has come on the pod to drop bombs, proud new Corvette owner, and absolutely ready to deliver. I cannot wait to get into it, but as for right now, welcome out to yet another episode of The Landing Pad.
Brother Kinzel, welcome to the pod.
Thanks for having me.
Do you know what
Happy to be here.
I was just thinking about this while you were doing your little intro. Like, Kinzel is also, those that don't know Kinzel, from Boise, just got married to his sweet, sweet wife, Morgan. She's from Lowell, Indiana. We love that. But it's something I was just thinking about. I don't know, actually, if there's a more humble guy than Kinzel out there. Like, realistically, I was just looking at your Instagram story. Dude, like, a lot of people, when they are at a pest control company, they do not talk to any other pest control companies. They drink the Kool-Aid of their pest control company, even at the grit, right? Like, our guys are such grit guys through and through. Dude, you love networking. You love, like, leveling up. Like, I saw you at the Sneak Easy thing. You out of Sneak Easy, which are the Aptive guys, their shoe store. You're in the Corvette club or in the car club with Aptive as well. It's like, dude, you are just all about just leveling up and just being a genuine nice guy. And like, I couldn't let this podcast continue on until people understood just the quality of guy sitting at the table.
It's time they know.
It's time they know. And now they know.
Well, I appreciate it.
Kinzel, how you doing, dude?
I'm great. I'm in the rookery.
Yes.
I'm here.
Yes.
I'm stoked. So I'm glad to be with you guys.
No, and the last time we had him on, we were in the closet at Aptive, our little podcast setup. So it's a little more official.
Yep,
you had to hit a million.
Was putting pillows in front of the door so that it was soundproof.
Yeah.
Just getting athletic as usual.
As usual. And now we leveled up a little bit here at the Rookery. But let's get into it. I want to talk a little bit, Kinzel, about your track record, though. People, as we're doing this Golden Door, I don't even know if there's like a Golden Door series. We kind of just have to always do Golden Doors because there's so many of them. So it's not even like the thought process of just doing all the Golden Doors. But when we have one, we love to boast about them. Kinzel, your track record started in 2020. You worked with Vantage, 395 accounts, did 250K. 2021, EXO, which was your own pest control company, you and a partner.
Sure.
Two partners, just you?
Two partners,
380 accounts, 217K, and you were spraying your own jobs, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, getting athletic.
Anything you can do in pest control, I was doing.
Exactly.
The crawl spaces.
You then had a realization that the grit is where you needed to be. Your first summer with us, you did 585 accounts, 651K, got that Golden Door first year with us. And it looks like you are on a trajectory to continue to blow the door off. This last summer, 932 accounts, $1,023,000 in ref. Mic drop. I don't know if we need to continue on this podcast, but we will because the numbers do the talking. But let's let Kinzel do some more talking.
So Kinzel, obviously a massive jump this year to last year. And for those of you who remember, I remember thinking, and this is where I'll take full accountability ownership on the podcast, I did not see the Kinzel train coming. And I should have seen the Kinzel storm brewing. And that's on me.
It's on you, and you're taking accountability of it, and that's fine.
But if we remember correctly, 650K, you were playing the long game last year, stayed out to get it done. Came out this year.
Which
like
seemed long, but now people are out and it's October.
Yeah, it's just casual now.
Yeah, it was like I got done on like the 13th of September.
You wrapped up by Thanksgiving.
That was the long game.
Right on. Truly. So you were out there for a while last year, got it done. Come out this year like an absolute man with your hair on fire, selling everyone you talk to. It seems like there was a very clear switch flipped. Kind of talk us through the level up that happened between your first Golden Door summer and your $1 Million summer this year.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think the biggest level up came from having done it and experiencing it and realizing, I guess my first year, it was like, am I really even going to be able to do it? Like, I'm going to try my best, but, I'll give it my best shot, leave it on the table, and if I hit it, I hit it. And then towards the end of the summer, I was close enough to where I was like, well, let's stick it out. Even though I had lots of talks about not sticking it out, I did stick it out, and my leaders made me stick it out, which I'm grateful for. And so once I did it and came back this year, it just started to click. I talked to Parker and Skylar before the summer, funny enough, and I was almost like in tears. I was like, guys, I don't know. I've got a big goal this year, and like I don't know if I can hit it, to be honest. Like I haven't trained at all this offseason, literally at all. I've only just worked with my guys. That's it. I haven't done any like personal training. I didn't do 75 hard this year like I did the year past. I haven't done the hard things this year. I kind of lived like a cushy life this last off season. And they just looked, and Parker was like, dude, Skylar, how much did you train before you did 1,000 counts? He's like, none. He's like, I didn't train any before I did my first Golden Door. The difference is just you just decided and went out and made it happen. So I think that's what it was. I mean, I'm looking at Brock and I'm looking at Corbin and Seeger and Chuck and Nate Hawley and all these guys. And I'm like, dude, I can keep up with these guys. They're not like, God's gift to earth. They're awesome. They're great guys, but I can at least keep up. And so that was my mindset all summer going into it. I think by June I was behind like Chuck and Nate by like 100K. And then I ended up hitting a million before them, and no diss at them. They're great. But
yeah.
It's just my competitive mind. I was like, dude, I got to do it before these guys. I got it. And me and Chuck called every day. But I'm like, dude, I'm going to do it before you. Like, I got to. So I think that was really the biggest flip, is like realizing that the people that done it aren't like so high and mighty. They're just like me.
Go ahead, Drew.
No. I was just going to talk about, you spoke at the GPS. And for those that don't know what the GPS, Brock just mentioned it. It's our Grit Progress series, right? Which is our event, happens twice a year. It's at the Jazz Arena, the Delta Center. And we bring all of our leaders there, right? The previous, we've done it twice now. Our first year was really focused on sales and goals and like committing to what you want. Calvin gave an amazing training there that a lot of people have talked about. Something that stood out to me this last year, though, is we asked you to speak at this GPS, right? Post you selling $1 million in rev. And I think what you spoke to, like for me, it was one of the biggest like emotional takeaways that I had from the entire thing. And you only spoke for 5-10 minutes, right? I would love in a nutshell, kind of give the people a dose of what you talked about and why it was so important to you.
Yeah, so the topic of discussion was, what is the grit difference?
Yeah.
Like, what difference has the grit made on me? And it kind of got emotional. I didn't expect it to. And I'm going to try to keep it from getting emotional again today. But It's just so powerful and so meaningful to me, like what the grit has done for me. Really what I talked on is coming from another company and, feeling like a number and feeling like even at my own company, like just like you're detracting from the business versus adding to it. Like you're just a guy that's hired on as an employee who's meant to go out and make money and produce, versus coming to the grit and realizing like, dude, I don't work for the grit. Like the grit works for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys only do well if I do well, and you work for me and through me to get your message across. And so really it comes down to plugging into the right systems. And, I spoke on, because I talked to Adam and Bailey and a couple other guys, Zach Kornfeld, guys who had come from other companies beforehand. And the night before when we did the Golden Door dinner, which was awesome. Thank you guys for that, by the way. And it was just so like, it sucked to hear that, like, instead of when they left their company, the company asking, dude, what can we do for you to make you stay? It's what, like, this is what we're going to do to you if you leave. And so I just think in the industry, that's such a common thread of like, people are afraid to leave their company, or they're afraid to take a risk, or like we're doing these orientations. And I've had 15 people reach out to me and they're like, hey, keep my name anonymous. Like, I really want to do it, but like, I don't want my manager to find out. And that's so sad because, I told one of the guys, I was like, dude, you've been working with this manager for 5 years. If he doesn't want to see your best interest in mind, or if he doesn't have your best interest in mind, if he doesn't want to see you succeed, then you should probably reevaluate where you're at. And like, whether you come to the grid or not, like, dude, if you're afraid to tell one of your best friends that you want to go better yourself, then it's probably not the healthiest relationship.
You said something really interesting, and I can't, like, let's not gloss over what was just said. That's it. Like that is the entirety of what we talk about. Like, business is just people. And when we talk about, or when Kinzel speaks so well and so firsthand to the fact of like, no, I literally went through this. If your management or leadership or recruiter, or direct recruiter, whoever is treating you in XYZ way where they're feeling more of like a crutch or a handcuff or an impediment rather than like an amazing, valuable asset that will help you do your job better, full stop. Even if it's not here, like, look around, like, come up for air, like, please see your surroundings, because I promise, like, everything you're looking for is out there, even if it's not with us. So Let's not gloss over what was said, because it's critically important. But Kinzel, you said something that I thought was way interesting. You met with Parker and Skylar before this summer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The goal was $1 million, correct?
1,000 accounts.
1,000 accounts.
Which unfortunately I fell short. But
okay, so that's a whole nother piece to unpack. But Mike, and this is something that Jeremy Jones has talked about, ski snowboard legend. He talks about like, you got to be a little bit afraid. You got to be a little bit spooked by what you're looking down the barrel of. That's how you know you're living. That's how you know you're growing. That's how you know you're improving. That's how you know you're progressing. Walk us through like what was that internal conversation, or was that a conversation with Morgan? Is that a conversation obviously with Parker and Skylar? Like what were some of like the huge fears that come with such a massive goal?
Mm-hmm. Well, I said it at GPS and it literally sounds so dumb. It's such a dumb quote, but I say it all the time because it just makes the most sense to me, which is to do something you've never done. You have to do something you've never done, which is like, it's so dumb, but like me doing a Golden Door was correlated to me doing 75 hard, me coming to a new company and trying something new and being in a new environment, me working with new leaders, me going out and learning a new pitch. So I'm doing all these things I've never done to accomplish something I've never done. I felt like in that off season, I hadn't done things I had never done before to try to get to that next level. I was just leaning on the fact of like, and I even told sweet Mr. Withers, one of my best friends, that, dude, I just like, what if I'm a one-hit wonder? Like, what if I'm like, you know, one of the guys that goes out and does it one time and it's like, okay, cool. And he's like, well, dude, they can never take it away from you, even if that is all you are, right? And so I think what just the conversation was an inner dialogue with myself of last year. It was like 0 dark 30, text Garth on my way out to area, dude, it's done. Like, this is like, I don't care. Like, I love the team, but like, this is my summer. This year was different. It was like, okay, this is our summer. This is like the team summer. This is, you know, I want to make sure that our team has the best results they can have. And along the way, I'm also going to like try my best. And really, I mean, working with Caleb, I listened to his podcast recently, which I think is one of the best ones so far. And he talks about, dude, who cares what people like think about you? He brought that energy to our office, which helped me a lot this summer of, dude, like, even if I don't do it, I'm still like so valuable. Like, who cares what people think of me? I'm still going to go out and like produce at a high level. And having that weight lifted off my shoulders of like, oh no, what if I don't? It just took all that pressure off and it gave me the opportunity to actually thrive and do it.
Well, something, yeah, and something, right? Like, where was I? I was just somewhere and they said that, dude, you think about yourself way more than anybody else. Nobody is thinking about Zach Kinzel unless they are thinking about Zach Kinzel, right? But it's like
no one thinks about you as much as you think about you.
100%. So it's like so much of the time it's like in your back of your mind, like, dude, what if I am a one-hit wonder? What if this or this? Well, guess what? Even if you would have done just 500K, it would have been like, well, we look at like a numbers, even Brock Grieve, right? He went from 761, 1,000 accounts to 651 with 610 accounts. You know how many times in my life I thought like, damn, like Brock failed, dude. He could have done so much more, but I never ever thought about that once. Cause guess what? I'm not Brock Grieve, but I bet in Brock Grieve's mind, he was probably like, dude, I bet everyone's thinking about that. And same for you, right? It's just like the minute you can throw that out the window and be like, I am who I am. I've done what I've done, and I'm going to do what I do. Who cares about the rest?
Exactly.
Right.
And just to touch on that question one more time, something that I just thought of that also clicked was at the GPS. Hearing, you know, Calvin talk was great and Drew, and, you know, I wanted so badly to be on that $1 million panel. I'm like, man, but the most influential talk was when Skylar got in front of our org, and I don't know if you guys were in there or not, but when Skylar got in front of our org and said, and just started bawling and was like, dude, the reason that Caleb Jansen, the reason that Tyson Fotherham, the reason that Adam Hayrand didn't get a Golden Door was because of me and because I didn't do what I knew I could have done. Because Skylar's like, dude, I totally could have stayed out and done it. I totally could have worked harder, totally could have worked more hours. And they're going to, you know, rise to the level of me, right? And so this year that really clicked with me where, dude, I wanted my guys to have such a big year that I just knew, like I knew from Boston the impact I had on those guys because I had a big year. I wanted that same level of impact on my own guys this year. And so knowing that, okay, if I tell people I'm going to do $1 million, like I'm someone who does what I say I'm going to do. So whatever it takes, I'm going to go out and do it and take the pressure off. And in that case, I can give my guys no excuses to grow other than just like coming from me. It's like, it's not because I didn't do it, because I definitely did it. And like, I don't feel bad. I don't look back at last summer and say, okay, the reason my guys didn't do like X, Y, and Z is because I didn't produce, because I know I did, and I put them in the best position to do so. And in that case, I mean, in our office, we had 6 rookies do over 200K, 4 over 250. Our per rep average was over 300K in our office. And I think it comes with that.
It's just so crazy is that, dude, the more and more we sit down with these guys so often, nobody has once sat down and been like, dude, I did it for me. Like, I did it so that I could do it. And I actually think that could be like the reason why the Grit actually has so many golden doors. Nobody sets out to get a golden door to be able to tell everybody that I got a golden door. Not one person. Even like the rookies that come on, like for example, like Jake Griffiths. Dude, there was never a mention of him like, dude, I just had to do it to like do it for myself. It's like, no, he's like, oh, dude, I did it because I was like, had to put on for my boys.
My future reps. Like
my future reps. That's what he said.
Mitch Matthews, if you're listening to this, you're a great guy.
Yeah, stud.
You had such a good quote like 2 years ago that I've written down and it's stuck with me. It's like, if you're not living up to your potential, you're letting down people you've never even met yet. And so I think that's true what it is. It's like, if I don't go out and do what I know I can do, there's people that I just met like this week or last week who had no idea who I was.
Yes.
That I would be letting down because of my lack of experience. Like they want to go out and do a million. And like, I wouldn't be able to tell them how to do it if I didn't go out and do it before I had ever met them.
Yeah, 100%. It's just like, dude, it's so much harder when you don't have like, you can have your why, you can have like your reason, you like have your vision, but if you don't have like a real like the people to do it for, dude, I think that's why that's like World War II with like the Army and the U.S. like going out, dude, they're doing it for their families, right? Like I think Ben gave that one training and they're just like, what's the biggest advantage to people like fighting a war? Dude, it's their why. It's the people that they're like doing it for. It's the cause. So if your cause isn't for a bigger cause, and rather than just being like what you said, I would love to be on that $1 million panel. I guarantee to you right now, if that was your why, you would not have done $1 million. Mm-hmm. Because it's just like not that, like who cares? It's a 10-minute interview on a couch. It's like, dude, no, you did $1 million for your people. You did $1 million for the Grit, dude. And like, you're amazing for that. But it's like, you had a cause. You did it for the reasons why you did it. I think it just made it a lot easier too.
Just interesting. It's interesting to see how whatever you want to call it, the sausage is made with the Golden Door winners. It wasn't a call out of, hey, we need XYZ people in this company to go and sell 500K or 650K and you're going to get a poster at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah.
There really was never a top, like 20 got thrown around. I feel like 25 got thrown around. There was never the conversation had where it was like, all right, 35 of you guys, 35 of the finest are marching out and are going to get it done.
No.
It was 35 people who made personal commitments to a group of people. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, like, it's what came first, the chicken or the egg. Like, we had a few outstanders, but now it's become like, whether it's proximity or whether it's training or culture or a blend of all three, now there's legitimately 35 people who have done it. And to continue to make the point and to bring it all home, these are all people, Garth and Kinzel, to your point, that if you ask 35 of 35 will say that, yeah, this wasn't for some directive or initiative or campaign that my company is doing this. The answers that you're going to get are, no, I'm doing this for so-and-so. I'm doing this for the people that I recruited. I'm doing this for my leaders. I'm doing this for the brand. I'm doing this for this thing that we built.
Mm-hmm. And I think
it's just different.
The first year doing 11, it was for the company. The second year doing 14, it was for like to prove that like we're not one hit wonders, like I said, and go out and like actually produce at a high level. And that was, I remember the call out that year. It was like, who's going to do it? And I stood up and I'm like, dude, I'm going to freaking do it. Mm-hmm. This year, there was no call outs. There was no like call to actions. It was just, hey guys, like, hopefully you just want it more than you want to fail. Like, hopefully you just put everything to the side and you just go make it happen. Not because we need you to. If we don't do 20, it's fine. If we do 20, great. No one really cares. Like I said, the weight's off the shoulder. Like, there's no pressure to do it. But if you want to do it, then commit to it, and we're going to hold your hand and we're going to hold you accountable. And it was like, of the 36 Golden Doors so far, I don't know how many of them actually publicly told people that they're going to go do a Golden Door other than just their inner circle. So it's like, dude, they just did it for the team. They did it for them. They did it for their close-knit group of friends and family, not for any company call out or any sort of recognition.
I think the reason why we talk so much about Golden Doors, it's not the magic metric of $650,000 in service pest control revenue,
No.
or 700,000, whatever it ends up being. It is what a Golden Door stands for. It stands for greatness. It stands for elite. It stands for top 0.001%. It stands for I overcame. It stands for like I am like a leader amongst leaders. The reason why we push so hard for Golden Doors is because that's what our ultimate mission is. And John talks about it all the time, and it's been said on the podcast dozens. It's closing the gap between your performance and your potential. So it really has almost nothing to do with sales and teams and recruiting and door-to-door and
the award
earnings and getting on the stage and being on the podcast and being on the panel. And it has everything to do with being great.
Yep.
And being great for the right reasons, which oftentimes is for causes that are bigger than yourself, whether that's your people or your team or your faith or your family or whatever. I think that, and I don't think it's ever been said that clearly, but I really do think when I hear so much like passion and obsession surrounding these Golden Doors, it has nothing to do with the mark or the award and everything surrounding what it stands for. And so Kinzel, for you, obviously your second Golden Door now, 650K to $1 million. You have a great resume, and now the earnings have matched the kind of person and the type of impact that you've had. So my question is, like, what continues to keep you excited about the building and the growing process when you've already accomplished so much so quickly?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be excited about. You guys say it all the time, and it's like I did a Golden Door. Like that's not a period. It's like it's the beginning of a sentence. It's like I did a Golden Door, and then I did $1 million, and we'll see where the phrase leads. But whether it's really the biggest thing, dude. I just got off of these post orientation interviews. I just did a couple this morning, dude. It's like makes me emotional how like these guys, like I had 4 vets that were on this orientation, and dude, they're just blown away. They can't even put it into words, the experience that they had. And that is what excites me the most, is knowing that somebody out there is feeling how I felt 2 years ago. And maybe they don't do a Golden Door, maybe they don't go to $1 million, but dude, they have officially started taking the steps in the right direction to becoming the best version of themselves. And even if they literally never sold with us again, they would understand what passion for something really means and what excellence really requires. And so, dude, they're going to apply that in whatever they do in life, and they'll forever be spreading the good word of the grit for being a stepping stone. And hopefully, I like to be selfish and saying, like, hopefully they would shout me out in the future when they're famous and they're awesome and they're doing everything right. That, dude, I didn't do much, but I did enough to be the catalyst in what happened to be a really good life.
Well, no, I love that, dude. Because I think when you did come in for the first time, I still remember me and you sitting down in the Visium building and you just like picking my brain. And like, I saw the light in your eyes. You're just like, I think you just felt home, right? To a sense that's like, you were great. You wanted to be greater. But that being said, like your numbers were good, but were they great, right? You did 217K. You were really, really good. But you kind of just felt within yourself that you're like, no, like if I want to be great, I can get it other places. This is just going to be so much easier. And I'm going to do it with people that will hold me accountable and sprint with me.
Yep.
Right. And I love Easton asked this question to Brock, and I think it's a great one for you. Dude, this last summer, you did $1 million, right? You sold $1 million worth of account revenue. Dude, what would you, looking back on this last summer, what would be your biggest takeaway? If you had to define it, in a phrase or there's a word and then expound on it. 2023 summer, I learned this that I didn't learn any of the previous years.
I think probably the biggest thing that I can take away from the 2023 summer, that's a good question. The biggest thing I can take away from the 2023 summer is that your accolades and your awards and your, all these metrics we look for in the industry don't define you. Who you are as a person defines you. Because people will question your character. People will come at you and throw all the stuff in the world at you, whether it's like on the doors or from other companies or in your own office, right? Like dude, you can't please everybody. But at the end of the day, even if you do the wrong thing with the right intentions, dude, you're doing better than 95% of people. A lot of people do the wrong things because they and they know the intentions behind it. I told this to Andrew Wood before he went out last summer, and I think he's about to be on, and I'm super excited to hear what he has to say. But he said, we met last year just one time, and he's like, dude, what's the difference between me and a golden door? Like, me personally, what's the difference between me and a golden door? And I said, dude, Andrew, like, how often do you do the right thing, like, out of 10? Like, are you an 8 out of 10 time, like, you do the right thing? Or, like, when you know you're supposed to be doing something and you're not doing it, like, are you, like, 9 out of 10, 7 out of 10? I think 7 out of 10 makes you, like, pretty elite. I think to be a 10 out of 10, like, doing the right thing 10 out of 10 times, regardless of what the outcome will probably suck, but you do it anyway, just because you know it's the right thing to do. That is what makes you, like, the best of the best of the best. And I think Jacob Griffith said it great. It's like, you have to be a good person before you can be a good sales rep. And so that was my biggest takeaway, is like understanding that my integrity is worth so much more than money or any sort of deal or anything. And just coming down, and you guys talk about networking and things like that. It's because, like, dude, we're all trying for the same thing. We're all trying to just find the best version of ourselves. I'm not competing against them. I'm competing against myself. And so it's like, when I see Yogi Myers and all these guys, and they're like, they've got all the cool cars and they're doing things the right way. Well, dude, they were in my shoes 5 years ago, competing against themselves, trying to become the best version of themselves. And that's why they're at where they're at, not by tearing other people down and putting yourself on a pedestal.
I love it. I love it. Handling a really influential position in the space with a lot of grace, like a lot of humility. It's what we'd expect. It's what we'd expect. Kinzel, this is a question where I want you to really take this one deep left, and maybe we can end here. We've talked a ton about leadership. We've talked a ton about results and culture and a lot of the things that have come with, I guess, the grit difference. But my question would be this. To Zach Kinzel, whether it's grit marketing or grit the word, I'll let you choose the direction. But what does grit mean to you?
Yeah. I listened to everybody else's podcast so far and heard all their definitions of grit. And it's so funny because even on the ride here, I'm like, dude, what is grit to me? Like, what is grit to me? Dude, I think I'm just going to loop back and say that, dude, grit is doing the right thing 10 out of 10 times. It's like, dude, it's really easy when it's raining to sit in your car. Dude, you might, like Jacob Griffith said, you might not even get a deal, but at least you did it, because you know you're supposed to. And it's just doing what you're supposed to do every single time. Dude, I think that there's guys that are way grittier than a lot of people that we work with that are just mechanics, and, you know, they're working in the fields or doing whatever because, dude, they wake up every morning, they're disciplined. And even though they maybe don't want to, they do it because they know they have to. They know they're supposed to. They don't have to. You could call in sick. You could take a day off. You could do whatever. You could make up any excuse in the book. But, dude, some of my biggest role models in my life were people that never made good money, but they just, like my dad, for example, he's like, in these last couple of years, I've looked up to him a ton because he just does what he says he's going to do every single time. And, like, dude, he got up every day and went to work every single day. And, dude, I just aspire to be that for somebody else, where regardless, I talked to some of my guys. It's like, dude, if I had done 200K this summer, like, I don't think you guys would look at me different, because you know that I did what I was supposed to do every hour of every day and live a life of intention. That's grit.
No, I absolutely love that, dude. When no one's watching,
who are you?
Who are you? Right? Almost to that extent. Kinzel, this has been amazing, dude. I think this is one that, like we've said multiple times, you're going to listen to this one, listen to it back, whether you're with the grit, not with the grit. There's some good nuggets in here and how to level up. But thank you for gracing us again with your presence of the podcast. Of
course, yeah. Can I have one final thought?
Please take us home.
My final thought, and I told myself I'd say this, dude, if you don't work with us, we'd love to have you, truthfully. And, like, I say that from the bottom of my heart, like, we'd love to have you. If you do work with us, we love having you. And we are so glad that you're on our team, regardless of your production, regardless of whatever. Like, we love you. Like, I love you. I hope I know you. And if I don't, introduce yourself. I want to know you. And if you used to work with us, come back, because we miss you. Like, we really do. We're not like, oh man, like, F this guy, he's gone or whatever. Dude, like, we want the best for you, whether it's with us or not, and it's totally fine. But, like, dude, let's build the bridge again. Like, let's stop burning these bridges. Let's build them back up, and hopefully one day that'll lead to us all being in a better place. So
I love it. I love
Beautiful.
it. And it's the way that we began with an absolutely wonderful guy.
The best.
Kinzel, thanks for coming on, brother.
of course, thank you guys.
As for this episode of The Landing Pad, we out.